Part 3, how to homeschool math, part 3. So I'm assuming that you've already watched the introductory video that gives you the idea that it's important to know where you're headed mathematically by the time the kids graduate high school. I'm assuming that you've watched number 2, part 2, where we talked briefly about curriculum and how the truth that curriculum is not really all it's at or all there is to teaching math. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can break away from curriculum and actually just zero in and focus on the stuff that your kids need to learn mathematically. It was important to me, and by the end of this video, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of hands-on ideas, and I'm going to share with you a throwback video from, I think, 2013 of me going through ways to make homeschool math hands-on and more interesting. You'll even see my little helper pops in by the end as we go through some of the things that you can do to make math more hands-on. So when you're teaching math and you've looked at your curriculum, you've looked at your table of contents, and you realize, okay, this is the concept that I want my kids to learn this week, then you can look at it through the lens of how can I make it hands-on? How can I make it more fun? How can I bring it to life in a way that it'll stick and stay? And I created a master post that I want you to bookmark on your computer so that you can find it later, because this very literally says 97 amazing ways to make math fun for our kids. And it's broken into, so here's your free math roadmap cheat sheet. And then it's broken into different types of things that you can do with your kids, from really fun, cutesy number type things to pro tips for making math fun, even algebra. And there are a ton of things that you can do. I'm going to pause right here on the page, and I am going to remind you or encourage you, anytime you enter a new concept in mathematics, go to the library or order books online, or go even to your shelves if you happen to have a massive collection of picture books, and find books, picture books specifically about that mathematic concept. There is something amazing that happens when you have a picture book that describes in some way a math concept that you're learning. One of the secret sauce tips for teaching is to wrap anything that you're doing in a story. Always look for books that help bring concepts to life. It will help those ideas and skills sink deep into your kids. And that's what you want. You don't just want them to get 100% correct on page 97. You want them to understand how to do the concept, and you want them to see the value of it, right? And one of the ways that we can do that is by wrapping the concept in a story. Another thing that you can do is that you can, as I flip back and forth through the pages, and there's all kinds of books out there that teach mathematics, but you can also, let's see, what does this say? You also want to be not overlooking a fundamental part of mathematics is actually things like patterning, colors, and fine motor skills, right? We need the ability to hold a pencil in order to do those higher math problems later. But we also need to understand relationships between things. I'm not going to go through that whole roundup of 97 ideas of how to make math fun. I want you to step back, and I want you to think about different ways that you can use math. You can use it in stories. You can use it in cooking. You can use it in art. You can use it in science. There's history behind any math concept or any math idea. There's history behind that. There are songs and musical fun things that you can do. There's even physical activities that you can do to help bring math alive. So I have 5 sons, and my youngest, honestly, if you could be a professional pogo stick riding, sword wielding, soccer playing rower, that would be him. When he was little, I had to be very creative on how we taught anything, because since he was a delayed reader, actually all 5 of my boys were delayed readers. We just didn't make a big deal about it. We just kept reading to them until that light bulb went on. He was the same when it came to mathematics. And I needed to find ways to make it a physical thing. We did so much math on as we were walking, or with sidewalk chalk. As he would ride a bicycle, we would talk about things. We would use toys as manipulatives. I had a whole kit of amazing manipulatives, which if you watch the throwback video, I will go back and I will show you my favorite flashcards and games and all kinds of things that you can use to help bring math concepts to life. But we used manipulatives and pattern blocks and counting bears and games and things to help bring the concepts to life, and to practice things like counting and skip counting and adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing. We built things. As he got older, what ended up being our favorite way to do math was relatively simple. You just take a dry erase marker and you do math right on the windows at home, the sliding glass door, the big picture window. It cleans off just fine. We did math almost always on the windows because he needed to be standing, he needed to be moving, and he needed it to not just be paper in order for his attention span to be captivated and held. So when it comes to math, think of ways that you can break away from the curriculum. Look at the page and look at the concept that they need to be understanding, and see if you can come up with a way to make it more hands-on and fun. So if you need ideas, let me take this off. This web page is filled with ideas, for motor skills. And it's broken up into different age categories. I absolutely love Amy's printables from Planning Playtime. I always get mixed up when I try to say her company's name. It's fantastic. She's put a lot of amazing thought and effort, especially into the younger grades, that preschool type age. If you're looking, you don't even need preschool or kindergarten curriculum. Amy even has she has this small little membership thing that you get everything that you need to teach those grades, and they're super fun, super cute. There's ways to teach colors on here. There's ways to use patterning and making things mathematically into art projects. So many ideas. Here I go through a video on how that you can teach math. There's just so many resources to help you thrive in this arena of teaching your kids this fundamental thing. In homeschooling, I remember one time crying at the kitchen table because I was overwhelmed. At the time, I had 3 kids that I was homeschooling, plus I had a baby and I was expecting. Yeah, it's as overwhelming as it sounds. And I was surrounded by curriculum, and I had no idea how I was going to get it all done because everybody needed different levels of me. And I didn't remember everything that I thought I needed to know in order to succeed. And my husband very wisely set the curriculum aside and said, Bekki, it's not the lesson that matters. What are our master homeschool goals? And I'll link to a video down in the descriptions to what that means, master homeschool goals. But it really has nothing to do with the chapter 3 or unit 3 in a math book. It's a bigger picture. By the time your kids graduate high school, what is it that you want them to know? And so my husband and I boiled down our master homeschool goals into very clear this is what we want. We want to share our faith openly with our kids in everything that we do. We want our kids to understand and master their basic math, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, all the things that they're going to need all throughout life. And then we had other goals about being marinated in excellent literature and becoming excellent communicators, both on paper and in front of people. But circling back to the math part, it's really easy to get lost in math curriculum and to completely and totally miss having your kids develop their foundational math goals. You get through a lesson that's challenging and you can't remember how to teach it, and your kids are frustrated and they don't get it, and there's lots of tears. Did that lesson have anything to do with the end goal? Most times it's not. Most times the curriculum itself kind of gets in the way. So I'm going to encourage you to do a couple things here. Find ways to make math fun. Okay, bookmark this 97 amazing ways to make math fun page and peruse it at your leisure. Find things that help bring math to life for you. I'm going to also encourage you, especially if you're new in your homeschool journey, to invest in or go to thrift stores or beg and borrow from somebody that's further down the road. Get yourself a cool kit of math manipulative type things for the longest time and keep them set aside. They're not things that kids play with in their free time. They're specifically for math time. You get a bin and you put the math manipulatives in there. I recommend things like counting bears, dinosaurs, or something. Little things that you can help understand and manipulate math facts with. A great set of flashcards. Multiple set of flashcards. My favorite are the triangle kind that show the whole families of math facts as you're learning them. And they're in the other video. When you watch the throwback video, you will see all of those. Actually go back and take a few more minutes and watch the throwback video at your leisure, because it's filled with all kinds of hands-on things that worked great for my family and that they may work for yours as well. So make the conscious effort to not be chained to the math curriculum. Understand where you're headed by the time the kids graduate high school. Give yourself some grace, okay? It doesn't matter what grade the kids are doing in math. It matters that they're understanding and developing those foundational skills, and make it fun. Math is fun. And the last thought is that as my kids got higher and higher in math, they started to leave me behind. It wasn't that I didn't know how to do it, it's that I didn't remember how to do it. So along the way, I became a collector of mathematicians. And what that means is once I understood that you knew math better than I did, I put you in my back pocket. So if I had a question, I had somebody that I could ask questions to, and they became just my amazing, they would rescue me when I didn't know how to set my kids up so that they could solve percentages, or if I got stuck with quadratic equations or the higher math. They were instrumental in helping me get that done. So if, as you're walking through life and as you're talking to people, chatting on Facebook and whatnot, and you find people that really understand math or any other topic, ask them if you can collect their phone number or their contact so that if you get stuck in the future, you have somebody to call. Likely, they will absolutely say yes, because when somebody really understands something, and especially in the homeschool community, they like to share that knowledge. So anyway, that's it for this part of the video. Break away from your curriculum, make it hands-on and fun, and watch that throwback video and collect some of my favorite tips and tricks from the past. How to homeschool math. Make it fun. Have a great day. See you in the next video.